Hey everyone, Elizabeth here. The Last Laugh delivers stories that leave you speechless. If you're here for it, hit subscribe and let's go. I walked into my parents' apartment to find my sister Amber sitting in the driver's seat of my car. Not sitting near it. Not admiring it. Actually sitting in it, in the parking lot, hands on the steering wheel, taking selfies. What are you doing? I asked, confused. Amber looked up, her face glowing. Oh my god, Lily. Isn't it perfect? I literally cannot believe it. Best birthday present ever. What are you talking about? My mother appeared from the apartment building entrance. Lily. There you are. We tried calling you. We wanted you here for the surprise. What surprise? Amber's birthday present. Mom gestured to my car, my 2023 BMW 330i that I'd saved 2 years to buy. Your father and I decided she needed a reliable car. That old Honda was falling apart. So we're giving her yours. I stood there, grocery bags in my hands, trying to process what I was hearing. You're giving her my car? Well, you can afford another one, Dad said, appearing behind Mom. You have that good job. Amber's working retail. She needs this more than you do. This is my car, I said slowly. I bought it. It's registered in my name. You can't just give it away. Lily, don't be selfish, Mom said, her voice taking on that edge I knew meant arguing was pointless. It's just a car. Amber's your sister. Family helps family. Amber was still in the driver's seat, now filming herself for Instagram. Best parents ever. They literally just gave me a BMW for my birthday. I'm so blessed. #grateful #best family ever. Amber, get out of my car, I said. She looked at me through the window, confused. What? No. Mom and Dad gave it to me. They can't give away something they don't own. Get out. Lily. Dad's voice went hard. We raised you better than this. Your sister needs this car. We're not asking for permission. We're telling you. The car is Amber's now. You can take the bus for a while until you buy another one. I stared at my parents. At my sister filming herself in my car. At the absolute certainty on their faces that this was reasonable, fair, justified. Give me my keys, I said quietly. Mom held them up. These are Amber's keys now. We already had a spare set made. She's picking up the registration paperwork tomorrow. You can't transfer registration without my signature. We'll forge it if we have to, Dad said. Don't make this harder than it needs to be, Lily. Just accept it and move on. Something cold settled in my chest. That familiar feeling of being dismissed, of my wants and needs matching less than Amber's constant demands. I felt it at 16 when they used my college fund to pay for Amber's senior trip to Europe. She needs the experience more than you need a fancy school. I felt it at 23 when they asked me to postpone my wedding so it would end conflict with Amber's graduation party. Her achievement deserves full family attention. I'd felt it every birthday, every holiday, every family dinner where Amber's accomplishments, however small, were celebrated while mine were met with, "That's nice, honey." And now I was feeling it again, watching my sister sit in my car while my parents acted like they had every right to give it to her. Fine, I said calmly. Keep the car. Mom blinked, surprised. Really? You're not going to fight this? Would it matter if I did? Well, no, but then there's no point. I walked past them into the building, heading to their apartment where I'd planned to drop off groceries and have dinner. I'll get an Uber home. Behind me, I heard Amber squeal with joy. Oh my god, thank you, Lily. You're the best sister ever. I'm going to take such good care of it. I set the groceries on their kitchen counter and called for a ride. Aren't you staying for dinner? Mom asked. We're having Amber's favorite, lasagna. Not hungry, I said. Don't be dramatic about this, Dad said. You're acting like we stole from you. I looked at him. Didn't you? We're your parents. We made a decision about family resources. That's not stealing. Family resources, I repeated. My car that I bought with my money is family resources? You wouldn't have that money without us raising you, Mom said. Everything you have, you owe to us. The least you can do is help your sister. My Uber arrived. I left without another word. The drive back to my condo gave me time to think. To process. To decide what came next. What my parents didn't know, what they'd never bothered to ask, was what I actually did for work. They knew I worked in property management. They knew I made decent money. They knew I lived in a nice condo downtown. What they didn't know was that I owned that condo. And 17 other properties. Including the 24-unit apartment building they'd been renting in for the past 8 years. I'd bought the building 3 years ago when it went up for sale. The previous owner, an elderly man named George Chen, had wanted to retire. I paid $3.2 million cash, money I made through strategic real estate investments starting at age 22. My parents paid $2,100 per month for their 2-bedroom apartment. They'd lived there so long, they'd forgotten who they wrote their rent checks to. The checks went to Pacific Property Management, the company I owned. I'd kept the management company's name when I bought the building. Easier that way. My parents never questioned it. Never wondered who owned the building. Never asked. They just assumed I was some kind of mid-level employee at a property management company, barely scraping by. The truth? I was worth $8.7 million. My property portfolio generated $89,000 monthly in rental income. I was 32 years old and could retire tomorrow if I wanted to. But they didn't know any of that. Because they'd never asked. They just knew I was the reliable daughter who could afford to lose a $55,000 car because Amber needed it more. I pulled up the management company files on my laptop. My parents' lease. Rent, $2,100 per month. Lease renewal coming up in 6 weeks. Market rate for their unit, $4,200 per month. I'd been giving them a massive discount for 3 years. Below market rent because they were family. Because I loved them despite everything. But taking my car? Forging my signature? Telling me I owed them everything I had? That changed things. I drafted a new lease agreement. Rent increased to market rate, $4,200 per month. Effective on lease renewal date, November 1st. Then I scheduled a building inspection. Full walkthrough of all units. Required by city code every 3 years. Due now. The inspection would require me to visit every apartment, including my parents. Including being there during Amber's birthday party, which Mom had mentioned was happening on Saturday. Perfect timing. Amber's Instagram documented everything leading up to the party. Photos of her in my car at sunset. Videos of her driving it down the highway, music blasting. Stories about finally having a car that matches my aesthetic. She posted about the party, big birthday bash Saturday at my parents' place. Come celebrate with me and see my new ride. The comments rolled in. Her friends gushing about the car. Asking what it was like to have such generous parents. Calling her blessed. Not one mention of where the car actually came from. On Friday, I sent an email to all tenants, including my parents, building inspection scheduled for Saturday, October 14th, 2 to 6 p.m. Inspector will need access to all units. Please be available. My mother called immediately. Lily, we can't do the inspection Saturday. That's Amber's party. It's required by law, Mom. City code. Has to happen. Can't you reschedule it? You work in property management. You must have some pull. I don't control the city inspection schedule, I lied. It's Saturday or we get fined. This is so inconvenient. We have 40 people coming. Inspector will be quick. 15 minutes max per unit. Schedule them to arrive at 3 p.m. Party can continue after. She huffed but agreed. What she didn't know was that I was the inspector. And I'd be bringing documents she wasn't expecting. Saturday arrived. I parked my rental car, a Mercedes C-Class, upgrade from the BMW they'd given away, 3 blocks away and walked to the building. The party was in full swing when I arrived at 3 p.m. Music blaring from my parents' third-floor unit. People spilling into the hallway. Someone had propped the security door open. I noted that violation immediately. Fire hazard. Safety concern. I knocked on my parents' apartment door. Dad answered, looking annoyed. Lily? What are you doing here? Building inspection, I said, holding up my clipboard. Official looking. Professional. I need to check all units. It'll take 15 minutes. Now? In the middle of the party? City code requires access during scheduled times. I sent the notice yesterday. You're the inspector? Mom appeared behind Dad, confusion on her face. I thought you just worked in property management. I do property management, I said. Not a lie. Can I come in? They reluctantly stepped aside. The apartment was packed. 43 people by my count. Maximum occupancy for this unit, 25. Another violation. Amber saw me and rushed over, drink in hand. Lily. You came. Did you see the car outside? I waxed it this morning. It looks amazing. I saw it, I said calmly. Happy birthday. Thanks for being cool about everything. I know it was probably hard for you to give up such a nice car, but honestly, you can afford another one. And I really needed this. Needed it? I asked. Well, yeah. My Honda was so embarrassing. I couldn't pick up dates in that thing. Now I'm driving a BMW. Do you know how much attention I'm getting? It's literally changed my life. I made notes on my clipboard. Where's your bedroom? What? Building inspection. I need to check all rooms. Bedrooms, bathrooms, kitchen, electrical outlets. Oh. Down the hall. Last door on the left. I walked through the apartment methodically. Checked smoke detectors. Tested outlets. Photographed the occupancy violation. Documented the propped security door. In the living room, Dad watched me suspiciously. Why are you really here, Lily? Doing my job. On a Saturday? At your sister's birthday party? Inspection was scheduled for today. You received notice. Mom pulled Dad aside, whispering. I caught fragments, being petty about the car, needs to let it go, so vindictive. I finished the inspection and returned to the living room where Amber was opening presents. Designer bags. Expensive jewelry. Gift cards to high-end stores. Everyone applauded as she held up each item, squealing with delight. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm so blessed. Best birthday ever. I waited until she'd finished. Until she'd posed for photos with all her gifts. Until the room had settled into casual conversation and birthday cake. Then I cleared my throat. Excuse me. Can I have everyone's attention? The room went quiet. 43 faces turning to look at me. I'm the building inspector, I said. I need to discuss some findings with the tenants of Unit 304. I looked at my parents. That's you. Can't this wait? Dad's voice was tight. No. City code requires immediate disclosure of violations. Violations? Mom's face went pale. I consulted my clipboard. Occupancy violation. This unit is rated for 25 people maximum. Current count is 43. That's a $500 fine per person over capacity. Total fine, $9,000. The room went completely silent. $9,000? Dad whispered. Second violation, security door propped open. Fire safety hazard. That's another $2,500 fine. This is ridiculous, Dad said, his voice rising. You can't fine us for having a birthday party. I can fine you for violating building codes, I corrected. Which brings me to the main reason for my visit. I pulled out an envelope. Official letterhead. Pacific Property Management. Your lease renewal, I said, handing it to Dad. Rent is increasing to market rate. Effective November 1st. New monthly rent, $4,200. Dad's hands started shaking as he opened the envelope. Mom looked over his shoulder, her face draining of color. $4,200? Mom's voice cracked. That's double what we pay now. That's market rate for a 2-bedroom unit in this building. You've been receiving a discount for 3 years. The discount is ending. You can't do this. Amber screamed. This is because of the car. You're punishing them because you're jealous. I'm not punishing anyone. I'm adjusting rent to market rate, which is my right as the what? Dad interrupted. You're just the inspector. You don't control the rent. Actually, I said calmly, I'm not just the inspector. I'm the owner. The silence was absolute. You could hear the birthday candles flickering. What? Mom whispered. I own this building. Pacific Property Management is my company. I bought the building 3 years ago for $3.2 million. I've been your landlord for the past 3 years. Dad actually stumbled backward. His hands were shaking so badly he dropped the envelope. That's impossible, he said. You work in property management. You're an employee. I own the property management company. I own this building and 16 other properties in the city. Total portfolio value, approximately $12 million. Annual rental income, $1.1 million. Amber's drink slipped from her hand, spilling across the carpet. You're a millionaire? Yes. But you said you couldn't afford, you made it seem like the car was a big deal for you. It was a big deal. Not because of the money. Because you stole from me. And Mom and Dad enabled it. Mom found her voice. You've been our landlord for 3 years and never told us? You never asked who owned the building. You just sent rent checks to the management company and assumed someone else owned it. Why didn't you tell us? Dad demanded. Why would I? So you could ask for free rent? So Amber could expect me to cover her security deposit when she needed an apartment? I kept quiet because I wanted to see how you treat me when you thought I was just getting by and we failed your little test. Dad's voice dripped with sarcasm. You took my car and gave it to Amber. You told me I owed you everything I had. You said you'd forge my signature if I didn't cooperate. Yes, Dad. You failed. The party guests were backing toward the door. Awkward mumbling. Uncomfortable glances. Within 3 minutes, the apartment had cleared out except for my parents, Amber, and me. So what now? Mom asked, tears starting. You kick us out? Take our home because we made one mistake. I'm not kicking you out. I'm charging you market rate rent. $4,200 per month. Same as every other tenant in this building. We can't afford that. Dad said. Then you'll need to move. I'll give you 60 days notice instead of the standard 30. Family courtesy. Family courtesy? Amber's voice was venomous. You're destroying our family over a car. I'm holding you accountable for stealing from me. There's a difference. We didn't steal. Mom and Dad gave me the car. That's not theft. They gave you something that wasn't theirs to give. That's theft. And you knew it was mine. You just didn't care. Amber's face crumpled. I need that car. My Honda died. I can't get to work without it. You should have asked. Should have offered to buy it from me. Should have treated it like what it was, my property. Would you have sold it to me? Maybe. If you'd asked nicely. If you'd offered fair payment. If you'd treated me with basic respect. But you didn't. You just took it and posted celebration photos. Mom sank onto the couch. 3 years. You've been our landlord for 3 years and let us think we were renting from some faceless corporation. I gave you below market rent for 3 years. Saved you $75,600 in rent payments. You're welcome. Don't act like you did us a favor. Dad shouted. You were lying to us. I never lied. You assumed. You never asked about my job, my income, my life. You just assumed I was struggling along in some entry-level position. You never bothered to see me as anything other than the reliable daughter who could handle less so Amber could have more. The room fell silent again. The BMW, I said. I want it back. Keys. Title. Everything. You have 24 hours. And if we don't? Amber's voice was small. I report it stolen. You'll be arrested for grand theft auto. Mom and Dad will be charged as accessories. Is that what you want? You'd send your own sister to jail? Mom whispered. You'd forge your own daughter's signature? I countered. We all have lines we won't cross. Apparently, mine are different from yours. I walked to the door. The rent increase and violation fines are official. You have 60 days to decide if you're staying or moving. The BMW needs to be returned by tomorrow at 3 p.m. Any questions? Nobody spoke. Happy birthday, Amber, I said. Enjoy the rest of your party. The BMW was returned the next morning at 11 a.m. Amber drove it to my condo building, her face puffy from crying. Mom and Dad followed in their old Toyota. I met them in the parking garage. Amber handed over the keys without a word, then broke down sobbing. I'm sorry, she choked out. I didn't know. I didn't understand. I thought you were just being selfish. I didn't know you were rich. I didn't know about the building. Would it have mattered if I wasn't rich? I asked. If I was actually struggling, would you have cared then? Or would you still think it was okay to take from me? She couldn't answer. Mom stepped forward. Lily, we need to talk about the rent situation. We really can't afford $4,200 a month. Your father's business has been slow. We have medical bills. You had money for Amber's birthday party, I noted. I counted approximately $3,000 in gifts and party expenses. That's different. That was. What? More important than rent? More important than not stealing from your other daughter? Dad's hands clenched into fists. You're punishing us. This whole thing is revenge. This whole thing is consequences, I corrected. You took something that wasn't yours. You dismissed my feelings. You told me I owed you everything I had. These are the consequences. So that's it? Mom asked. We're just done? No more family? I don't know, I said honestly. I've spent 32 years being the daughter who mattered less. Who got less attention, less support, less consideration. I'm tired, Mom. I'm tired of being invisible until you need something from me. You were never invisible, she protested. You used my college fund for Amber's trip to Europe. That was. You made me postpone my wedding for her graduation party. We didn't make you. You took my car and gave it to her. And you thought that was reasonable. That tells me everything I need to know about how you see me. I turned to leave, then stopped. The rent increase stands. The violations fines are due within 30 days. If you can't afford it, start looking for a new place. I'll waive the penalties if you're out by December 1st. Where are we supposed to go? Dad asked quietly. That's not my problem. You're adults. Figure it out. I walked back to my car, my BMW that smelled like Amber's perfume and had 340 miles on it that hadn't been there before, and drove away. The aftermath was predictable and painful. My parents started apartment hunting. Discovered that below-market rent for 3 years had spoiled them. Everything in their budget was smaller, older, farther from the city. Amber had to sell most of her birthday gifts to help with moving costs. Her Instagram went quiet. No more celebration posts. No more #blessed captions. They moved out on November 28, 3 days before the deadline. They didn't say goodbye. Just left the keys in the Dropbox and disappeared. Aunt Rachel called me on Thanksgiving. Your parents are heartbroken, Lily. Is this really necessary? They're your family. They took my car without asking. It's just a car. It's my property. My trust. My boundaries. They violated all 3. So you destroy their lives over it? I charged them market rate rent. How is that destroying their lives? She had no answer. Christmas came. No invitation to family dinner. I spent it alone in my condo with takeout Chinese food and a bottle of wine. My phone buzzed at 11 p.m. A text from Amber, I'm sorry. Really, truly sorry. I was selfish and entitled and I didn't see you as a real person with real feelings. I understand if you never forgive me. But I needed you to know I get it now. I'm sorry. I stared at the text for a long time. Then I typed back, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Nothing more. No, I forgive you. No, let's rebuild. Just acknowledgement. Because sometimes sorry isn't enough. Sometimes people need to sit with the consequences of their actions. Sometimes the broken things stay broken. It's been 6 months now. My parents are settled in their new place. Amber got a better job, actual career, not retail. She sold her designer bags to pay off credit cards. Dad's business picked up. They're managing. We don't talk. No calls. No texts. No family dinners. I rent out their old apartment for $4,200 monthly to a lovely couple with a newborn. They send rent on time every month and say thank you when I fix things promptly. I bought 2 more properties last month. Total portfolio value, $14.3 million. My accountant keeps telling me I should retire. I'm 33 and financially set for life. But I like working. Like building. Like the satisfaction of creating something that's mine. Something nobody can take away and give to someone else because they need it more. Aunt Rachel called last week. Your mother wants to reconcile. She's been going to therapy. Talking about favoritism and how she treated you. She wants another chance. Is she sorry she took my car? Or is she sorry I turned out to be rich? Rachel didn't answer. That's what I thought, I said. Maybe someday I'll be ready to rebuild. Maybe someday the apologies will feel genuine instead of motivated by guilt or need. But today? Today I'm okay being the daughter who owns the building. Who sets boundaries? Who says no? Today, that's enough. Have you ever had family members treat your belongings as family resources they could redistribute? How did you handle it? Share your story below.